In this week's episode of Fishing 411, Mark and Jake Romanack traveled to the Wisconsin waters of Green Bay to put their collection of lipless crankbaits to work. The flash, vibration, and rattles these baits are famous for makes them an ideal bait for casting up cold water walleye.
Look at that, baby!
Yeah, Dad.
Wow! This is absolutely stellar.
What a gorgeous fish. We're gonna get a quick picture for Facebook, and then she's going back to do some spawning.
Well, we are hooked up.
Got one on there, Dad. Let me reel up quick.
I do indeed. And can't quite judge him just yet, Jake, but he feels like a good fish. In fact, all these fish just seem to be good fish. So, haven't seen him yet.
Staying down pretty nice. Going
Well,
off to the side.
that's always a good thing, isn't it? And here, I'll just step back a little bit and let you in the rock and roll
nice
spot
fish,
there.
Dad. Very nice fish.
Just a minute here. Let me get him under control here, son.
Come on, baby.
Lift him up. Look at that.
Nice fish.
So, Green Bay. Look at there. I love the color of these fish. You know, the Bay of Green Bay is just cranking out some not only nice size fish, but just a gorgeous looking fish. And it just doesn't hardly get much better than that. I am absolutely beside myself. Nice way to start out the morning. Well, if you've got cabin fever and you're looking for a place to stretch your line here early in the season, I'd highly suggest you take a look at Green Bay. The towns between Peshtigo and Oconto has some world-class early season fishing. How early? Literally the day the ice comes off, there'll be guys out here fishing. So shake off the winter cobwebs and come out and catch yourself some walleye. Let me get reeled in here, Jake. I'll give you a hand.
Oh, it's not a bad fish.
It's actually a very nice fish.
Just tunked it too.
Oh my goodness, I guess he did. A little closer. Got him, there you go,
Very
buddy.
Nice fish.
Nice work, Jakers. Is that your first Green Bay walleye?
No, I've got some Green Bay walleyes before, but that's a good one. Nice fish. You know, we're fishing the Oconto and Peshtigo river mouths, and what we have going on here is we have fish that are coming up to spawn. These fish haven't spawned yet, so what they do is they move up into the shallow water. It's a little bit warmer in this shallower water. They get acclimated to that warm water, and then they shoot up those river systems to spawn. So look at that big old fat belly on that fish. Not a huge walleye, but this time of year they're thick, aren't they, Dad?
They just literally ate that lipless crankbait.
Yeah. You know, we're doing something that has become super popular in the state of Wisconsin, and that's casting lipless crankbaits. Right now we're using a Rippin Rap, which is a Rat-L product. And basically we make long casts with this bait and you're working it back. Now a lipless crankbait has a lot of rattle, a lot of vibration. So what we're doing is we're catching these pre-spawn fish before they've actually gone up the river to spawn. Now after these fish spawn, they'll drop back and you have another shot at catching them too. But when you come to this Oconto, Peshtigo area this time of year, you're looking for a big walleye. You have a shot at catching the biggest walleye of your life.
The one thing that's unique about this fishery is that the Wisconsin DNR manages this area for trophy fishing. You're only allowed one fish, and that fish has to be over 28 inches. So all other fish have to go back. So essentially it's a catch and release fishery unless you're fortunate enough to get that one trophy you're looking for to put on the wall.
Yeah, and I was just looking around literally. And I felt that tick in the line. I'm like, whoa, that's a fish.
He caught you by surprise.
And that thing was literally right underneath the boat.
he's in the boat now, young man. Very good.
I wasn't even moving that bait at all. I was literally not even paying attention. Had the rod over and I felt that tick in the line, and I know what that is. Gotta set the hook. Not a bad fish, huh, Dad?
Good looking bait. Good looking fish. Jake.
I love them this time of year. Even a fish like this, that's not even a big walleye. They're just so thick. They're healthy. The Bay of Green Bay's got it going on. If you're looking to catch some big walleyes in general, Green Bay's the place to do it. All right, gotta get them back.
You know, when we're fishing in cold water, we're almost always greasing up our lures these days with a fishing scent called Procure. And Green Bay is actually part of Lake Michigan, and Lake Michigan, of course, has a lot of alewives in it. And so the formula that we've chosen to use here today is alewife, because we believe these walleyes are feeding on alewives. It's a natural food for them. They're seeing alewives all the time. They're smelling alewives. So by taking our Rippin Raps and greasing them down with Procure that smells like alewives, we think it just enhances things a little bit. And don't get me wrong, this is not one of those things that's magic. It's not going to turn a bad day into a good day, but it can get you a couple extra bites any given day, and that's a nice thing. Can't say enough about Procure when it comes to getting us those important bites we're looking for.
Special considerations are provided by Cisco Fishing Systems and Striker brands. Go early, go late, go prepared. Additional considerations provided by Fishhawk Electronics. Trolling without a fishhawk is called boating.
Whoa, baby. You know, the Fishing 4-in-1 guys have put away their ice shelters for the year, but we haven't put away our ice fishing clothing. It is cold out here today, but man, if you live in the north like we do, I'm telling you, cabin fever starts to set in. It feels good to get out on some open water. Jake, this is a solid fish,
Yeah, it's
man.
really staying down really nice.
Staying down real good. Oh, baby, look at that. Now that's a beautiful fish
beautiful
right there,
fish.
Jakers. That is a beautiful fish. Let me back up here, son, and see if I can get him up here
Yeah,
for
I'll
you.
switch you spots and I'll come to the back here. Gorgeous walleye.
Daddy!
Look at that thing! That's a big one.
Oh, that's fun. That is so much fun. I'm going to take my gloves off here and we'll get this one out and show it off a little bit. This is a little bit more of the reason why guys come up here to Green Bay. They don't come up here to catch those eaters. They come up here to catch these nicer quality fish like that. What a beautiful stud that one is. Oh, baby.
That's a big male, isn't it?
It is a big male. And
It's a very big male.
Absolutely a big male. And he's going to be able to do his thing here, because as soon as we get done showing him off the camera, he's going back in the water. That's one of the cool things I've seen around here, is that we get to travel a lot, and people catch walleyes all over the country. Most people, when they catch a walleye, it goes directly into the live well. These folks around here in Wisconsin, they take a picture of them, they put them back in the water, let them do their thing. It's a beautiful thing. Natural reproduction, golden walleye. Not bad.
So I'm going to walk you guys through exactly what we're doing today to catch these walleyes. It's a very fun way to catch walleyes. Basically, we'll start with the business end. The business end is a lipless crankbait. This bait has a lot of rattle, a lot of vibration. It's what's getting these fish to bite. From there, we tie a cross-lock snap on there. We're doing that solely because we're switching out colors throughout the day, trying to figure out exactly what color is best. So we have a cross-lock snap. The next thing that we have tied on is a fluorocarbon leader, and I use about a 12-pound test fluorocarbon leader. Now this water's got a lot of color to it, so to me it's not about line shyness, but the nice thing about fluorocarbon, it has body to it. So when I make a long cast with that bait, it doesn't accidentally flip around and get caught. Then you're making a lot of casts and simply not catching a lot of fish because that bait is fouling on itself. So I have that fluorocarbon leader. Now the next very important thing that we have is a braided line. I use a double uni knot to tie my fluorocarbon to my braided line, and a braided line is super important for this application. We're making long casts with no stretch. It's very sensitive, and so you can feel those fish bite even at the back end of a very far cast. Now the rod and reel setup that we're using is about a 7-foot medium action rod. What I look for is a very fast tip, because as you lift that bait up, you feel that tunk in the line, you have to set the hook very quickly. I team that up with a size 30 spinning reel, and that's pretty much the ideal setup to catch these walleyes.
We are going to cast out one of these lipless cranks here and talk just a little bit about the best way to fish one in our opinion. This happens to be a Rippin Rap. It's made by Rat-L, and it's a bait that can be cast a country mile. So that's what I just did. I cast it a long ways. I'll let it sink to the bottom. And as soon as it gets to the bottom, I'm going to lower my rod tip and I'm going to reel up the slack line. And then as I lift, I can feel it buzz. I can feel it vibrate. And that's a good thing. But when I stop the rod, what happens is it kind of pendulums towards me. And then it hits the bottom again. Now I got no action. So I got to reel up that slack again by dropping the rod. and raising the rod again. So you feel that buzz and then it goes slack, and that buzz and then it goes slack. Well, that buzz is what's attracting the fish in, but typically they don't bite when it's buzzing. Typically they bite when it's sinking back down to the bottom on slack line. And the bite is not as dramatic as you might imagine. It's more of a tick in the line. If you're a jig fisherman and you've caught a lot of walleyes on jigs, the bite is almost exactly the same. A light tick, you react with a rod sweep and a hook set, and you've got that fish. So fishing a lipless crankbait like this is very similar to the same way that you might fish a jig for walleyes.
You know, one of the biggest mistakes though that I see when I see guys fishing a Rippin Rap or a lipless style crankbait is they just fish it too aggressively. You feel that vibration in the line and it just makes you want to lift that rod super fast. And that's normally not what's going to get you bit. You have to remember the water is super cold this time of year. So what I like to do is, just like Dad was saying, I like to lift it up and you can feel that vibration from the bait. Now if you're feeling to go, that's too fast. But if you slow it down, you'll go whoop, 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 whoop. Whoop, whoop, whoop. That's what we're looking for. So slow your action down just a little bit and you'll get a lot more bites, especially in this cold water. He came off in the net already too. Let's get him out here. Another beautiful fish. You know, these fish here, we're finding out very quickly, they're definitely not give me fish. You got to work for them, but it makes every fish you catch that much more special. And there's nothing like it. If you come out here and you feel that tunk in the line, you set the hook, you're going to be hooked yourself because this is so much fun. The water's starting to get a little bit cleaner here, and we're fishing right now we're fishing right off the mouth of the Peshtigo River. Right on the mouth itself was a little bit dirty. We slid off, found some little bit cleaner water, and we found some walleyes too. So like I said, we've been moving around a lot, but every place we've moved so far, we've actually caught a fish. So it's been worth finding other spots, finding lots of walleyes.
Special considerations provided by Precision Trolling, the Troller's Bible. Special considerations provided by the Ultimate Sport Show Tour, Michigan's elite sport shows. Eagle Claw presents the 411 on fishing.
You know, we've had over a season now to fish these HDS live units from Lowrance, and I tell you one thing, they've really excited me. First of all, this 12-inch unit right here, this live unit, has a quad-core processor. So what that means is it's an extremely fast unit. When we're doing things like structure scan or have multiple screens running, we really can go from screen to screen very quickly. But one of my favorite things about this unit is actually the quick menu options that are on the side of this unit. You know, if I want to save a waypoint, on the old units, it really wasn't that difficult to save a waypoint, but it's much quicker with Lowrance live units. So I have these quick options here that are set up, and basically I have two options. One, if I do a quick press, I can save a waypoint, and you can see it pops up really quickly, waypoint saved. But maybe I'm looking at my sonar unit here, I'm looking at the chart unit, and I want to go back to my sonar unit. What I can do is I can just hold on to that first quick menu, and boom, it pops me right back to a sonar unit. So I can go back and forth very easily. Now if I want to go back to my charts, all I have to do is go down to the button below it, just like that, and I'm back to my charts again. Now the really nice thing about these quick menu options is you can customize them to any way you want, and I'll show you how to do that. Basically what you can do is you can hold on to one of these buttons and you have two options. You have a short press option and you have a long press option. So maybe I want to go down to this number 3 option. I can click that option and I can go capture screenshot. Maybe I want to be able to quickly add a screenshot if I'm marking a lot of fish out there. So I go ahead and I can save that. Now all I have to do is touch the number 3, and you'll see it pops up on the bottom here, screenshot captured. So it's a lot easier to go through these menu options. Now the HDS live units are a very cool unit. That quad core processor is unbeatable. You team that up with the easy quick menu options on the side and you just can't go wrong.
There's a hookup. Man, this is a lot of fun. I mean, this is absolutely a riot. Typically this time of year when you're talking about walleyes in the pre-spawn, most guys are trolling for them. And you can actually troll here too. But feeling that bite and setting the hook on a nice fish, man, that is a lot of fun. I just absolutely can't say enough about this, this fishery. And this whole Green Bay bite, is getting very, very popular, but I believe you could do this in other places in the Great Lakes as well. Isn't that right, Jake?
Yeah, absolutely. Anywhere you got spawning walleyes that are going to come up and stage, this is the place. This is a great place to do it, but you can do it a lot of different places. That fish is staying down nice, Dad.
Staying down nice, and I haven't seen him yet, but boy, what a nice pull I'm getting here. It's getting a great fight out of this fish.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to reach down, I'm going to grab this rod out of the way.
Yeah.
Open up the back of the boat.
Come on, puppy. Let's show yourself. Oh,
Dad.
Jakers.
That is a big
Jakers. Let me
fish.
keep him in the water here.
Oh my goodness, Dad, that is a giant.
That is a big fish.
That is a giant. Let me get him in the
Look
net.
at that, baby.
Yeah, Dad.
Oh, man. Oh, you can't make up a smile like that. Let me get these gloves off. What a cool fish, Jake. Let's pick this guy up and show him off. Jakers. Now that is a toad. And if you're wondering where the bait is, he's gone. It's gone. He ate it right on down to the back of his throat. Man, that is beautiful fish. Man, I just can't say enough about the ability to catch fish casting. It's so much fun. It is so much fun.
You know, in almost every single episode of Fishing 411, we talk about replacing your hooks, and that is so important, especially for this application. One of the fish that we just caught broke the treble hook on the back of this Rippin Rap, and so it's time to replace it. What I like to do is replace that back hook on these Rippin Raps with a Trocar hook. More specifically, we use the 310 series from Trocar, and what that is a hook that's got a little bit wider gap. More importantly, the hook itself comes back towards the main shank, and what that allows is for those fish to absolutely stay stuck. Love this hook. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a number 6 Trocar 310 treble hook. I'm going to put it on the back of this number 6 Rippin Rap, and we're going to catch a lot more fish on this bait.
This springtime green bay bite actually has 2 phases. It's got a pre-spawn phase, and that's what we're enjoying right now. And literally it happens days after the ice goes out. The second the ice goes out, these guys are out here and they're on these fish. And as you might imagine, in super cold water, the fish are going to be lethargic, so it's a little bit slower bite, a little bit slower presentation. But after these fish spawn, they drop back out in the green bay and they become much more aggressive. The water's a little bit warmer, of course, and they're much, much more hungry. And so the post-spawn bite, I think the activity level, your chances of getting a lot of bites are much better in the post-spawn bite. So this starts as early April, and then it lasts pretty much all through the month of April, and actually even into early May as well. So there's a long period of almost 4 weeks that you can catch these fish here in the shallow water.
Special considerations are provided by Trailmaster Trailers and Daiwa Corporation. Special considerations are provided by Procure, ruthlessly effective bait sense.
You know, Jake and I both really like braid for casting, but there is a slippery slope to it. The problem with braided line is it doesn't have any memory. And so if you close the reel bail just by turning the handle, and that's what most of us always grown up doing, there's a chance that you'll get a loop of line on the spool. And if you get a loop of line with braid, oh, it can get ugly. You can get snarls that you just can't get out. And so we get in the habit after we cast is using our hand to close the bail. The reason for that is you're physically looking at it to make sure there's no loop there, and it works much, much better with that. So if you just get in the habit of closing the reel bail with your hand, you won't have those wind knots associated with braid.
You know, one of the keys to this style of fishing we're seeing pretty quickly is just being mobile. We moved around a fair amount today, and that's really important. First of all, just learning a fishery in general. Look at this fish, Dad.
That's
nice
a beautiful fish, man. It's a good looking fish.
Just lip hook.
Just lip hook. A little closer, man. Lift. Oop.
Come on,
he don't want to be lifted. There he is.
Nice fish.
He's just barely hooked, man.
Yeah.
Woo, baby.
He hit it hard, but he's just barely lip hooked. Gorgeous walleye, Dad.
Got a nice color here. There's no question about it. Green Bay has got it going on for good looking walleyes.
Well, like I was saying, is being mobile seems to be really important today. We moved around, and actually we've seen fish caught, and we've caught fish just about every spot that we pulled up to. Right now we're at the mouth of the Peshtigo Rivers directly behind me, and we are right straight in front of the mouth. So we're really stopping these fish literally right before they go up the river to spawn.
One of the things that I thought was pretty cool about this, we saw a lot of beautiful rigs out here. Everything you can imagine as far as for boat brands is out here. But what struck me is it's a small boat fishery. This is a place where a 16 to a 20-foot boat is just absolutely perfect. It's not going to be rough. You're fishing near shore, and so you've got a great opportunity to fish, catch lots of big walleyes from a relatively small fishing boat.
I have a Plano box sitting in front of me here, and I got a bunch of lipless crankbaits in there, a bunch of different colors, but pretty much the same size. What I've decided here is the number 6 Rippin Rap is pretty hard to beat, so that's the size that I tend to fish the most, but a lot of different colors. And the reason I have different colors is because of the different color water that you're going to fish when you come out here. And so if you've seen, we've probably switched out baits and caught fish on multiple different colored baits throughout the day. The reason for that's very simple. If I'm fishing cleaner water, I like a more natural look. Blue and chrome, or anything that has a chrome metallic finish on it, like these ones right here, seem to be really good in cleaner water. But once that water gets dirty, it's pretty hard to walk away from those old traditional painted style baits like a fire tiger that I have right here. That dirtier water, this bait's more visible, and it's simple. A walleye is a sight feeder. If they can see it, they can eat it. So in dirty water applications, I like to use painted bait, something that's easier for those fish to see. And when the water's cleaner, go to those chromes and you're gonna catch a lot of fish.
This one bit right at the boat, Jake. I mean, literally right at the boat. Oh, what a slob. A lot of slobosaurus.
Is it a big one, Dad?
Yeah, it is. Man, I gotta get back here and make sure you don't get into the outboard. Very nice fish. Literally, I was just about ready to call that cast quits and reel it up, and he took it.
Oh yeah, Dad, that is a beautiful fish.
Oh man, come on, Papa. Stay buckled up here, stay buckled up. God, Jake, you got long arms. Thank goodness you got long arms.
That is a net full right there, Dad.
If you're gonna have sons, make sure that they have long arms. What a nice net job, man. Oh my goodness.
That is a nice fish.
That's the biggest walleye I've caught in the last few years. That's a very, very nice fish, man. He's not quite perfect. His dorsal fin's got a little slit in it there, but
Little beat up.
a little beat up. It is spawning season, but you know, as far as, you know, we catch a lot of big walleyes, but usually we catch them trolling. As far as catching big walleyes jigging, you know, and doing this kind of stuff, we don't get a chance to do this much. So
Look at the size of the head on that thing.
he's a slob.
That is a big walleye.
He's definitely a slob. Hey, my name's Mark Romanack. You've been watching Fishing 401. Thanks for joining Jake and I. We hope to see you same time, same place next week.
Closed captioning is provided by Lakeside Motorsports, Michigan's premier marine and power sports company. Fishing 411 is brought to you by Offshore Tackle, Ontario, Canada, Starcraft Marine, Yakima Bait Company, Smooth Moves, Niagara Falls, USA, Lowrance Electronics, Evinrude Outboards, and by Jay's Sporting Goods.